Picture this: you land at the airport feeling confident, your power bank is packed the way it always is, your boarding pass is saved on your phone, your carry-on fits the same size it fit last year, and you think you know exactly what to expect, but 2026 quietly rewrote the rules, and most travelers have no idea until they are standing at the counter watching an agent point at a fee they never saw coming, or a scanner flag a battery that used to be fine. This is not one change, it is 8 of them, all happening at once, all enforced without warning. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what they are, so you never get caught off guard again. Before we go further, if you want every new airport rule explained before it costs you money or time, this is exactly what FlySmart After 70 covers every single week, so stay with us. And if any of these 8 changes surprise you, that is exactly why you need to keep watching until the end. Rule number 8. New lithium battery and power bank restrictions, and this one catches almost everyone off guard, because most travelers think a power bank is safe as long as it looks normal. 20,000 milliamp hours feels fine, 30,000 still feels fine, but that is not what airlines check anymore. They check watt hours, not milliamp hours, and the limit sits at 100 watt hours. Anything above that is not allowed in a carry-on, and it is not allowed in checked baggage either, which means if your power bank crosses that line, you cannot legally bring it on the plane at all. And here's the part nobody expects. Many newer high-capacity power banks quietly cross that 100 watt-hour mark depending on voltage, even if the packaging never mentions it clearly. So that extra battery you packed for peace of mind can become the exact reason you get pulled aside. Loose batteries carry their own danger too, because lithium cells can short circuit the moment their terminals touch metal, a key, a coin, another battery, and once that happens, heat builds fast inside a pressurized cabin. That is why every spare battery now needs original packaging, or a protective case, or taped terminals, no exceptions, and this rule extends to vapes and e-cigarettes as well. They are treated exactly like lithium battery devices. Carry-on only, never checked, and never allowed to be used once you are on board. So before your next trip, check the fine print on every battery you own. If it does not clearly show watt hours, do not risk it. And if it is anywhere near that 100 watt-hour line, leave it at home. And here is something most people never consider. If you are traveling with a laptop, a camera, or a drone, those built-in batteries count too. And if you are carrying multiple devices, each one is checked individually, not as a group. So 4 devices that are each fine on their own can still draw extra attention simply because of how many the scanner sees at once. Security officers are trained now to ask a simple question when they see anything unlabeled. Can you prove this is under the limit? And if you cannot answer clearly and quickly, the safest move for them is to take it, not to guess. So the smartest habit is labeling your own gear before you travel, keeping receipts or spec sheets saved on your phone, and never assuming that because a battery flew with you last year, it will automatically fly with you again this year. Rule number 7. Airport counter check-in fees are growing. And this one hurts quietly because it does not feel like a rule. It feels like a punishment for showing up in person. Airlines have spent years pushing travelers towards self-service kiosks and mobile apps. And now many carriers charge extra simply for checking in with a live agent at the counter, sometimes $10, sometimes $25, sometimes more depending on the route, and the reasoning sounds simple. Agents cost the airline money, kiosks, and apps do not. But the effect lands hardest on the travelers who trust a person more than a screen: seniors, first-time flyers. Anyone who just wants a human to confirm their seat is correct. And here is the part that catches people off guard. This fee is separate from your ticket price. It does not show up when you booked. It shows up the moment you walk to the counter without checking in online first. So the trip that looked fully paid for suddenly costs more before you even reach security. The fix is simple once you know it. Check in online or through the app the moment it opens, usually 24 hours before departure. Print or save your boarding pass yourself. And only approach the counter if something is actually wrong. Because in 2026, convenience for the airline has quietly become a cost for you. And here is a detail many travelers overlook completely. Some airlines waive this fee for elite frequent flyer members, or for passengers who paid for a premium ticket, which means two people standing in the exact same line, flying the exact same route, can be charged completely different amounts. One nothing, one $20, simply based on loyalty status they never mentioned at booking. And if you are traveling with an older relative who is not comfortable using a phone or a kiosk, this fee can quietly become unavoidable. So if you are helping plan a trip for a parent or grandparent, check them in yourself the night before. Print their pass at home if possible, and walk them through the process once, so they are not standing at a counter paying extra, simply because technology moved faster than they did. Rule number 6, stricter carry-on size and weight enforcement. And this is the one people assume they already understand. Because the bag that fit last year should fit this year, right? Except airlines have started measuring more precisely and enforcing more aggressively. Gate agents now use rigid sizing frames instead of eyeballing your bag. And if it does not slide in cleanly, wheels, handles, and all, it gets tagged and sent to the belly of the plane, sometimes with an extra fee attached. Weight limits are tightening too. Some international carriers now cap carry-ons around 15 to 18 pounds. And if your bag is packed heavy with electronics, books, or gifts, that limit disappears fast. Here is the twist most travelers miss. The size and weight limit can change from airline to airline, and even from route to route on the same airline. A bag that passed fine on your outbound flight can get flagged on your return, simply because a different carrier or a smaller aircraft is involved. And once a gate agent decides to enforce it, there is no negotiating. So before you fly, check the exact dimensions and weight limit for that specific airline and that specific flight. Weigh your bag at home if you can, and pack knowing that the days of a little extra room are quietly disappearing. And here is the detail that surprises people the most. Even bags that technically fit the sizer can still get flagged if the flight is oversold on cabin space, meaning the airline needs the overhead bins for other passengers. And when that happens, gate agents are instructed to gate check bags more aggressively, sometimes starting with the very last group to board, which is often the group that paid the least for their ticket. So if you are boarding in the final group, do not assume your bag is automatically safe just because it fit last time. Consider a smaller personal item as a backup plan, something you can pull your essentials into quickly if your main bag gets tagged, because losing access to your carry-on for the entire flight is far more frustrating than losing a few extra inches of space before you ever board. Rule number 5. Digital boarding pass verification is becoming mandatory, And this shift is happening faster than most travelers realize. For years, a screenshot of your boarding pass was good enough. Now, more airports and airlines require the boarding pass to be pulled live from the airline app or the airline website at the exact moment of scanning. A static screenshot can fail verification because it does not update if your gate changes, your seat changes, or your flight status changes. And if it fails, you are pulled out of line for manual verification, which takes time you may not have. Some airports have gone even further, linking your boarding pass directly to facial recognition or to your passport data. So the pass itself becomes almost secondary. Here is what catches people off guard the most. If your phone battery dies, or you do not have signal to refresh the app, an old screenshot might not save you the way it used to. So the safer habit now is to open the airline app before you leave for the airport. Make sure your boarding pass is fully loaded and current, and keep a backup, either a fresh screenshot taken minutes before boarding or a printed copy from a kiosk, because in 2026, the system expects your pass to be live, not just present. And here is something else worth knowing. Some airlines now push last-minute gate changes directly through the app silently, without a separate alert, which means a boarding pass that was correct an hour ago can quietly point you to the wrong gate if you never refresh it. Travelers who rely on an old screenshot can walk confidently to a gate that no longer matches their flight. And by the time they realize it, boarding has already started somewhere else in the terminal. So make it a habit to glance at the app one more time as you approach your gate, not just once when you arrive at the airport, because a boarding pass in 2026 is less like a printed ticket and more like a live status update that can change without warning. Rule number 4. Rising seat selection fees on economy tickets. And this one feels almost personal because it touches something as simple as sitting next to your own family. Airlines have expanded what counts as a paid seat. It used to be just extra legroom or exit rows, now standard economy seats, aisle seats. Even window seats in the middle of the cabin can carry a fee. And if you do not pay, the system can scatter your party across the plane, seated apart from your spouse, your children, or your parents, unless you pay to sit together. Here is the part that frustrates people the most. The fee is not fixed. It changes based on how full the flight is, how close to departure you are booking, and even how popular that specific route is. So the same seat that cost $8 last month can cost $25 this month on the exact same route. And if you skip seat selection entirely thinking you will get assigned something reasonable, some airlines now assign the very last available seats, often in the back, often separated. The way around it is not complicated, but it takes discipline. Select your seats the moment you book, before prices climb, and if traveling with family, confirm seats are actually together, not just booked, because a confirmed booking and a confirmed seat are not always the same thing anymore. And here is a detail that catches families off guard every single time. If you booked through a third-party website instead of directly with the airline, seat selection can be even less predictable. Because the airline sometimes treats those bookings differently, holding back certain seats until closer to departure, which means the seats you thought you locked in weeks ago can shift right before your trip. The safest approach now is booking directly with the airline whenever possible. Checking your seat assignment again a day or two before departure, not just once at booking, and calling the airline directly if your party shows up separated. because a quick phone call before the airport is far easier than trying to fix it once you are already standing at the gate. Rule number 3. Biometric e-gates are replacing traditional passport lines. And this change is spreading through international terminals faster than almost anyone expected. Instead of handing your passport to an officer, you walk up, look into a camera, your face is matched instantly against your passport photo, and if it matches, the gate opens, no stamp, no conversation, just seconds. It sounds efficient, and for most travelers it is. But here is what nobody explains clearly. You still have the right to opt out of biometric scanning for privacy reasons, religious reasons, or simply personal preference. And if you do, you are moved into manual processing, which can take far longer than it used to, because fewer officers are staffing the traditional lines now that most passengers use the e-gates. So the wait that used to be 5 minutes can stretch to 30 or more. There is another issue travelers do not expect. If your appearance has changed significantly since your passport photo was taken, new glasses, a beard grown or shaved, significant weight change, the system can fail to match you, and that also pushes you into manual review. So before your next international trip, check whether your destination airport uses e-gates. Make sure your passport photo still resembles you closely, and decide in advance whether speed or privacy matters more to you. Because in 2026, you cannot have both without a plan, and here is something travelers rarely think about until it happens to them. Some countries are beginning to require biometric enrollment before you even arrive, meaning your face and passport data are registered in advance through an app or an online portal. And if you skip that step, you may not be allowed to use the fast lane at all, even if you wanted to. So the process that was supposed to save you time ends up costing you time simply because the preparation step happened before you ever left home. The smart move now is checking your destination country's entry requirements a few weeks before departure, not the night before, because biometric systems are rolling out country by country, and the rules at your last destination are not always the rules at your next one. Rule number 2, new airline fees hidden beyond the ticket price. And this is where travelers lose the most money without realizing it until the final receipt. Airlines have gotten remarkably creative, printing your boarding pass at the counter instead of using the app, a fee, choosing your own seat instead of accepting a random assignment, a fee, bringing a slightly oversized personal item, a fee. Even certain payment methods now carry a processing charge that was not there a year ago. None of these show up clearly during the initial booking screen. They appear one by one as you move through the process. And by the time you reach the final confirmation, the total can sit $30 to $60 higher than the number that first caught your eye. Here's the part that stings the most. Budget airlines are not the only ones doing this anymore. Full-service carriers have quietly adopted the same strategy, unbundling what used to be included and charging separately for each piece. The only real defense is reading every screen before you click conform, not skimming, actually reading. Checking a box you did not notice can save real money, and if a fee looks unclear, search the airline's own fee page before you fly. Because in 2026, the ticket price is just the starting number, not the final one. And here is a habit that saves real money. Before you book, open a private browser window and compare the total price after every fee, not just the headline number, because two airlines can advertise nearly identical base fares. while landing at completely different final totals once seats, bags, and payment fees are added. Some travelers now build a simple checklist before confirming any flight, seat cost, bag cost, payment method cost, printing cost if needed, and only then do they compare that final number against a different airline. It takes a few extra minutes, but it can be the difference between a trip that stays on budget and one that quietly grows more expensive with every click. Rule number 1: random gate bag checks are more common than ever, and this is the twist that catches people who thought they were already done with security. You clear the checkpoint, your bag is scanned, everything looks fine, you relax, and then at the gate, right before boarding, an agent pulls you aside for a secondary bag check. This used to be rare, reserved for random spot checks or specific concerns. Now it happens far more often, partly because carry-on enforcement has tightened everywhere, and partly because airlines are actively looking for bags that slipped past the initial size and weight rules. If your bag is pulled, it gets weighed and measured again, right there at the gate, in front of everyone boarding behind you, and if it fails this second check, you may be forced to check it immediately, sometimes with a fee attached, sometimes losing items that are not allowed in checked baggage at all, like certain batteries or liquids. Here is what most travelers never expect. This check can happen even if you already passed security without a single issue, because gate checks are not about security threats. They are about enforcing size, weight, and fee compliance one more time. So the smartest habit now is simple. Pack your carry-on exactly within the stated limits, not close to them. Keep anything restricted, like spare batteries or medication, easily accessible and properly protected, and never assume that clearing security means you are finished. Because at the gate, the rules get checked all over again, and here is the twist that most travelers never expect. Gate checks are increasingly common on flights that are tightly full, because every extra inch of overhead space matters when a plane is packed to capacity, which means the flights most likely to trigger a gate check are often the exact flights travelers assume are routine. A normal weekday route, a normal domestic hop, nothing unusual about it. So instead of treating the gate as a formality after security, treat it as one more checkpoint where the rules can still change your trip. Keep your bag light, keep it within the real limits, and keep anything restricted properly protected. Because the goal is not just getting through security, it is making it all the way to your seat without a single surprise. 8 changes, none of them random, all of them enforced, new battery limits gone if you are not careful, counter check-in fees, growing quietly, carry-on size and weight, measured harder than ever, digital boarding passes, expected to be live, not saved, seat selection fees climbing by the week, biometric e-gates, fast for some, slow for others, hidden fees beyond the ticket, adding up before you notice, and random gate checks waiting even after security clears you. And here is the truth most travelers miss. These changes are not designed to trap you, they are designed to move more people through airports faster and more profitably. But the system does not slow down to explain itself. It does not pause because you did not know. So, when travelers get stopped, or charged, or separated from their family, it is rarely because they were careless. It is because they were unprepared. And in airports, preparation is everything. Not luck, not experience, preparation. And the travelers who move through airports the easiest in 2026 are not the ones who fly the most. They are simply the ones who took 10 minutes before the trip, to check what actually changed. If this video just saved you from one surprise fee or one confiscated item, that is exactly why Fly Smart After 70 exists. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with anyone flying soon, because the next rule change could show up on your very next trip, and you deserve to know before it costs you.